I want to thank you all for reading my last post. I'm currently planning to go back into those woods with a couple of friends that claim that they have experienced the most strange occurrences. To update everyone on my life, I'm now 18 years old. I recently got my driver's license and I have been making trips out to those woods. At least, these trips have been dangerous. There have been a number of recent missing person reports connecting to the woods. There seems to be no pattern regarding who goes missing, as their ages, genders, and nationalities always tend to vary. Some of the individuals who go missing are eventually found, but they are never found alive. When their bodies show up, they are always stripped of their flesh and teeth. This makes it very hard to figure out who they are. I guess that they are usually identified by the size of their body or using DNA of some sort. To be honest, I don't know. My knowledge of forensics only comes from the shows like CSI and Bones, so I don't really understand how they do it. Anyways, all my experience in the woods have been gut-wrenching. I was one of the first people to find a body out there. I was a child of maybe 5 or 6 years old. I haven't really been the same since that day. I've noticed I am more numb more often than not. Despite the fact that this happened about a year ago, I still see that small broken body every time I close my eyes. Maybe that's why I'm a bit obsessed with this. Maybe this is why I'm obsessed with those woods. Anyways, I plan on going back there to stop whatever is hurting these people. I'm not going alone this time. With my mental state the way it is, I doubt I would survive out there by myself. I'll keep everyone posted on my journey. If I'm lucky, I will still have service out in the woods. Till next time, thanks for reading. A lot of crazy shit has happened since my last update. What you have seen is enough to fuel my nightmares for the rest of my life. I think I'm in over my head. The situation in the woods is bigger than I could ever imagined. In my last post, I explained how I was going to go back into the woods with my friends to figure out what was going on. That's exactly what we did. I went with my friends, Mark and Leon. Mark is 6'1". He is a big, athletic guy that shares my passion for hunting. He may even be the strongest man I've ever met. Leon is far more laid back. He's a hunter as well as a knack for tracking. More importantly, he's a gun enthusiast. I thought it would be great for him to come with us, since he is bound to be carrying serious firepower. I realize now that I have not even introduced myself yet. My name is Hutch. I'm 5'10", I may not be strong as Mark, but I do have a bit of muscle. I can handle myself in most situations. Anyway. We spent a while preparing ourselves before going into the woods. We packed the basics with food, water, and extra sets of clothes, first aid, and of course weapons. Leon helped us with the last one. He equipped us each with an AR and 3 full magazines. With the supplies we brought, we had enough to survive a week or so without returning. We made it into the woods around noon and noticed there was a thick fog tangling between the trees. One by one, we went to each of the locations where we experienced strange events in the past. To our surprise, there was nothing out of the ordinary to be found. We began to get a bit discouraged until Mark perked up and said, "Maybe the things we're looking for are asleep. Didn't all of our stories happen at night?" After a brief discussion, Leon and I agreed. Mark began to speak again. "They're probably nocturnal," and then he turned to me. "Didn't you say the creature you saw ran away from the flare you lit? Maybe they're afraid of the light." Hearing him say this made me realize how much of an idiot I am. Not even realizing this. I nodded in agreement once more. We began discussing locations where these creatures could be hiding during the day. I remember overhearing a few locals talking about this tremendous cave they have stumbled upon deep in the woods. Apparently they hear screaming coming from the inside. They also mentioned hearing the sound of crying infants. I didn't pay much attention to the story when I first heard them talking about it, because there were a ton of rumors floating around after these strange occurrences began. Plenty of the people were making up stories, so it was hard to determine which ones were real and which ones weren't. Regardless, I told Mark and Leon about the cave and they agreed to check it out. We had already been in the woods for about 7 hours and I could hardly hide my annoyance with the situation. It took a couple more hours, but luckily we found the cave before it got too dark. As we walked into the entrance of the cave, we noticed the fog became denser. It seemed as though it was pouring from the mouth of the cave. That's when we hear it. It started out faint at first, but got louder as we got closer. We could hear a baby crying. We were all nervous and hesitant for a moment before taking another step. After all, we were there to keep anyone else from getting hurt. We slowly peered into the entrance of the cave. The crying was now painfully ringing in our ears. Mark pointed his flashlight into the cave. The ground was littered with teeth. So many. Mark continued pointing his flashlight at different parts of the cave until we saw something immense skitter by. With a shaking hand, Mark shined the light towards the direction of the creature had moved. To our terror, his light illuminated a 7-foot-tall spider-like creature. It seemed to have pieces of human skin stuck to its 8 slender legs and body. Despite this, it wasn't until I saw its face that I experienced true fear. For the first time in my life, it became clear to us that the crying was not coming from an actual child. Instead, the spider's face was that of a newborn baby, except for its mouth. The mouth opened up unnaturally wide, revealing a row after row of jagged teeth that seemed to jut out in all directions. The wailing sound never stopped. It simply became louder as the mouth opened wider. I was mesmerized by the opening that seemed to go on further between those abhorrent teeth. She began to rush towards us. I only snapped out of my trance because Leon opened fire with a barrage of precisely aimed bullets. He managed to shoot one of the creature's legs off before screaming, "Shoot its legs before it kills us!" Even injured, the creature was swift. It lunged at Mark and jabbed at his shoulder with one of its many legs. This is when I opened fire on the creature and to get its attention. I aimed for its face, which it seemed to slow it down for a moment, before it charged at me with its open mouth. I lifted my gun to begin firing again, but before I could, something flew by my head into the creature's mouth. The creature closed its many teeth around the object as I turned to see where it was coming from. Leon was standing behind me, looking as though he had thrown something. He screamed, "Run!" Mark had already started doing so, and the 3 of us went deeper into the cave. As the sound of an explosion went off behind us, the crying stopped. But we kept running until we were sure there was nothing behind us. We were all shocked and collapsed on the floor. None of us said a word for what felt like hours. Apparently, we checked Mark where he had been struck to make sure he was okay. Silence was finally broken when Leon half-heartedly muttered, "Good thing I packed a grenade." Dangerous as it was for him to do so, I couldn't help but agree. We set up camp, ate a bit, and barely spoke at all. I can't help but think I still hear crawling noises all around me. I'll update you guys again soon, if I'm able to do so.